So you want to learn how to edit in Premiere, and I can understand why Premiere is a really fun program, and video editing is a really fun thing to do. Um, if you like working with video, if you just want to like get your feet wet, that's kind of the reason I have this tutorial series lined up. Today we're just going to talk about getting familiar with Premiere and maybe cutting a couple things together. We're going to cover basic navigation and just making sure Premiere looks a little bit less scary. Now you've just opened Premiere. This is what you should see. You'll see this page, and yes, there is this Learn tab that you can access. But we're not going to really dive into that. Let's learn just how to get comfortable with Premiere. That's what we're going to focus in this video. So that next time you create a project, next time you say, "Yeah, I can edit that for you," you actually know what you're getting into. Now, here we have all of my most recent projects. Not going to worry about any of these too much right now. Instead, we're just going to click New Project, and it's going to ask me where I want it. Now, normally I keep these in a folder. I'll have the project name, and then I have a specific folder just for the Premiere projects. But we're not going to do that right now. This is just getting started. You don't have to worry about anything else. You need nothing to get into this video aside from Premiere. So we're just going to call this tutorial. Let's make sure I can spell tutorial. Great. Don't worry about any of this right now. Everything, if you just leave this to default, everything will be okay. If you have a graphics card, you might want to set it to this. If you have a dedicated graphics card, you might want to set it to Mercury Playback Engine GPU Acceleration, CUDA. Otherwise, Mercury Playback Engine software only is totally fine. So now you can just hit OK. And now we're here at Adobe Premiere Pro. There's a couple different windows you'll see open right now, and I might have changed a couple of mine to be more comfortable for myself. But so this is the assembly window, and this is where we'll start. The assembly window is basically where you're just going to put your project together and where you're going to look at most of your files. You're not really going to be doing any main editing here. You're going to be doing a lot of your just like what we call putting together a loose assembly in editing. So we're just going to roughly put our stuff together, and you're probably thinking, but wait, Matt, you don't have any footage on here. Well, I know I don't have any footage on here. So we're going to double click this, or you can Control I. It'll show you a couple different ways to do this. So Control I will import stuff. That's cool. You can double click to import stuff, or you can use the media browser to import, well, stuff. So my main method of doing this is just to go into the file browser right here, the file explorer, and I'm just gonna we'll go to my improperly named Instagram folder, Kinstagram, and I'm gonna just select all of these, and this all works the same for Mac and Windows, doesn't matter. I'm just gonna select all of these and drag them into the tutorial project folder. I'm gonna drag them into here. And now we have all of our folders. Now I shot all of this in 60 frames per second. So we're going to edit in 60 frames per second. You know what? Real quick, I'm just going to make all of it slow-mo. So now everything we have is slow-mo. And I'll explain a little bit more of how I made it slow-mo at the end of the video. So that leaves you guys with a pro tip at the end of this video. So you have something to watch all the way for, and you have something, that you really feel like you earned. Anyway, I'm just being silly. I feel like this clip is a really good example for what we're going to be doing in this entire project. And you can download a couple of these clips as well, the clips that we'll be using, in a little Dropbox link that I'll have for you guys. So you guys can, if you guys don't have footage, you can use some of my footage. So, how did I do that? Well, all you have to do is double click these. If you want to take a look at a clip, you can double click it and it'll show up here. And then you can scroll, it'll show up in your source window. And that's something different I'll have to explain later. And so you can see if we just click through these, there's a couple different clips and everything. Some nice slow-mo. You have all these names. Maybe you don't want to look at the names because it's like what you don't know what you're looking at. You see all this stuff and you see all this information, and you don't really know like what you're looking at exactly. I know how that can be a bit of a problem. So you can go to icon view, and you can this will help you be like, well, I really liked a shot earlier that I got. Now I don't know when I got the shot, but I know I'll recognize it when I see it. This is perfect. This is a great shot of this grilled cheese. It's not a grilled cheese. It's a bacon and egg sandwich. Yeah. So we'll play it out. And you can hear the voice being, slowed down. So I need to remind myself to slow down a little bit. So we just want to get this bit of the sandwich just coming into focus. So in order to do that, what we're gonna do is we've double clicked the clip. It's in our source window, and we're gonna click I on our keyboard. I for in, and O for out. And I've already clicked it, so I'll just show you again. I'm just pressing. All I'm doing is pressing O to choose where we want it. And with that being done, I'm going to click on this and drag it and move down to create a new sequence. This guy, this little folded piece of paper right here. And now your sequence has been created. And in your sequence, that's where you're going to be doing all of your editing. I know it took a while for me to get to this point, but this is where you're going to be doing all of your editing. And the audio just freaks me out. So say we wanted to cut the audio from this. Say we didn't like the audio being in this at all. Well, what you can do is you can drag, you have this bar at the bottom that allows you to scroll through your timeline. And what you can do is you can drag one of these edges and shrink it so that it gets a little bit smaller so you can see the audio waveforms are a little bit bigger. Now I'm going to grab another clip from this shoot as well, and we're going to double click this clip and we're just going to scrub through it. And same thing applies for the timeline. Applies anytime you see this bar right here, you can grab it and make it fit the whole thing. So that's kind of a good shot. So I kind of like that. We're not doing anything too perfect right now, but we're going to drag this and move it onto the timeline. And if you have now this little magnet right here, will turn on snap and turn it off. I feel like I'm kind of all over the place, but this will turn on snap. And what snapping does, I feel like if you're just beginning to get into Premiere, you should know what snapping is. Okay, snapping will say, yes, so if you have the snapping turned on, it'll put these two clips together. If you get remotely close, it'll figure you're trying to bring the two clips together, and it'll snap them together, just like that. And let me show you what it looks like without snapping. So without snapping, it doesn't do that. So why do you want snapping? Versus why do you don't want snapping? Snapping is good when you want to get like really precise and you want to make sure that there's no darkness or anything like that, no black spots or anything like that. But I've always found that having snapping on is just an easier way to go. But snapping off is just a way to get a little bit more precise. But anyway, we're not going to cover that too much more. That's just a little look into the future. So we'll snap these two clips together, which can also be done by right-clicking the black space and clicking Ripple Delete. And so now we have that. But I don't like how slow motion audio sounds, and maybe you don't either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag, drag a box over the whole thing, and over both clips, and I'm going to click unlink. And now you can do this, on your own too. You can click unlink. And what that's going to do is it's going to separate the video and the audio so they both move independently of one another instead of, let me show you right here, instead of moving together. And so now that we have this unlinked, we can just delete the audio. And that's what we're going to do for the other clip too. We're just going to delete the audio. And now that just looks a little bit more appealing. Maybe you can put together, maybe you can throw some music under that. But maybe I don't want to get a copyright strike on my channel, so maybe I'm not going to do that. So we've got this clip of the egg and cheese. We got this clip of the breakfast, which looks so good. And then we've got this coffee. I think I'm going to go grab a breakfast sandwich after I finish this. And so now we have this assembled, and we're going to hop over into the editing tab right over here. So say we wanted to make this clip longer. Well, what we could do is we could say, oh, well, it cuts off a little bit too short right as soon as it gets in focus, and I want to look at the sandwich for a little bit longer. Well, what you can do is you can hover over the edge of this until you see this little red arrow thing, and you can drag it out just like that, and now the clip is longer. Just boom, boom, just like that. And the reverse works. Maybe I made it a little bit too long, and I can just shrink it down. And also, I like to bring in the beauty of snapping, where if you want to be more precise, if you don't want it to follow the timeline, you can just sort of shrink it back like that. Boom. And now we'll close the gap by right-clicking and hitting Ripple Delete again. So now the clip is just a little bit longer, and we have a little bit more coffee stirring. And maybe we want to have more coffee stirring time in there. And so I'll turn snapping back on, and we're good. So say we wanted to, instead of putting the, I don't know why you would, but say you wanted to take this clip of the coffee and put it in the middle of this clip and then have it trailing at the end. Well, what you can do is you can hit C on your keyboard, which will bring up the blade tool, the cut tool. C for cut. You get me? And it's also available here on your in your toolbar. And all you have to do is, with snapping again, you can click right where you want, right at the playhead. You can press V, which will select the selection tool and move this around. And the selection tool is what allows you to just like click and drag and make pretty little boxes. And now we've put these two together. We've stitched these two clips. So we've got that, and now we've got the sandwich again. Now we're really zoomed in, and what we can do is we can either go out, we can drag this out, but then we have all this space out here, and you have to play around a little bit and see, does it, does this, it doesn't look like it's the right, it doesn't, and it's this really frustrating battle of getting it to be the right size, and it doesn't look good. But if you want to view your entire, so say we're zoomed in all the way, and say you want to view your entire project all at once, and what if there was just a single key that did that? Well, what if I told you that, wait a minute, there is a single key that does that? All you have to do is press this little backslash / the pipe key. I'll put a picture of it up right now, and you just press that, boom. Now you can see your entire project. Now this is a lot more beneficial when there's, we have bigger projects. When you have a 7-second project, an 8-second project, it's not too big of a deal. But pretty cool trick if I do say so myself. This little tilde up, this backslash or pipe key, that just makes everything look a little bit better. And look at the color on this is just great. So say we wanted to put a title on this now, because titles are also incredibly important in making videos. What you can do is click the T right here, or you can press T yourself, one or the other. And this got made so much easier. Like, Adobe fixed this in the newest update. In CC 2018, it never has been this easy. All you have to do is click T and click on where you want to put the title. And now you have this little box that you can type in, and we can say subscribe. I'm just going to keep that typo because that's part of the that's part of the personality of this. And then you click away. And now you have this little title that'll hang above your video. Subscribe. And so that looks nice and everything. It just kind of pops on. Cool. Well, you can also reposition it, and you can do all kinds of stuff. And you can also like reposition it, and you can move it, do whatever you want. You can rotate it by hovering over one of the edges and just dragging it down and do that. And so we'll just put this in a nice little corner right here, and we'll just put this in a nice little corner right here. Boom. Perfect. But what if I don't like that font? What if I just want to change what if, it's something about it looks off to me. I want to make it more me, put my own little stamp on it. Well, that's pretty easy to do. I'm going to show you how to use the effect controls and how to change the font and text and everything like that. So we'll click on this, and we'll go up top to the left right here and click on effect controls. And that'll allow you can do that on anything. You double click this, go to the effect controls, and now we have the motion and the opacity controlled by this. Same thing on every other clip. So the effect controls are where you control like the rawness of the clip. Really, the meat and potatoes of the clip. And so say we want to change the font. Maybe we don't want to go with Myriad. Maybe we want to go with good old-fashioned. Where is it? Where is it? We could go with good old-fashioned. And none of these fonts. Arial. What if we want it to be just Arial, And we can change the size of it. And we can say maybe not narrow. Maybe we want bold. Maybe we want to put a drop shadow on it. And you can mess around. I'll let you guys mess around with all of this kind of stuff if you want to. I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna keep this one giant mess. So we're good. So now we have the, so now we have subscribe, and we're all good. But what if we don't like that it just sort of pops on? You know, that's cool and all, but it's not very elegant. I don't like how it sort of like hops on, you know? So we're going to go to the effects panel up at the top, click on effects, and it's going to change our windows. What we want to do is we want to put a video transition on this. And we want to just click on video transitions, and cross dissolve is like the godfather of transitions. This is the transition that's used just for anything. It's super clean. It's just it's simple. It's not crazy and chaotic. Yeah, you know, you could put on a page peel like that, you know, if you wanted to do that, and you could watch the clip, you know, just sort of do that, but it doesn't look very professional. You know, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can do an iris box, and you can do that, and that's cool and all, but like it doesn't look very professional. If that's your style, you can do that. The cross dissolve is pretty golden, and what it does is just brings the opacity down from the from 0 to 100 or 100 to 0, depending on where you put it. So we're gonna put this cross dissolve on the front of this clip, and we're just gonna watch it lightly fade on. Doesn't that just look beautiful, folks? It doesn't just look amazing. And say we want it to last a little bit longer, well, we can do the same thing that we've done before, and we can just drag it out just like that. Subscribe. Great. And then we can also throw a little one on at the end of it too, and we'll make it super short. This isn't supposed to be good, folks. This is just supposed to be quick. So subscribe, and it's on there for a while, and then it just quickly fades away. Last thing we're gonna do for the end of this video is I'm going to put on this cross dissolve in between these clips just to show you that it is just as easy to put them in between clips as it is to put them on anything. So we have subscribe, and perfect. And then we're just going to fade it out. We're just going to fade it out just like that. And that's we've made a movie. Look at you. You made a movie. Isn't that great? Isn't that amazing? So what if you want to send that movie out? What if you want to, you're done with the movie. We're done here. All we have to do is hit Control M. I should say, I've seen this happen a couple times. I see some people are in their project and they go to export and they can't really select anything. Well, you have to have your timeline selected. You have to have your sequence selected. So we'll hit Control M, which also can be found File, Export, Media. And you can look at your clip and everything, and you're all good. And for your format, you really want to pick H.264. We can do a whole video on this, but H.264, match source, high bit rate, output name, and we can do whatever we want with this. We'll just call this tutorial video. And I'm just going to click save, but that doesn't mean it's done yet. All of these will stay basically the same if you just use the match source high bitrate preset. And we can click export. Now I'm just going to speed this process up. And now we can open the video and see it, and we can share it with our friends, maybe send it to your parents, let them know how proud they should be of you. Now, I promised you at the beginning of this video that I would show you how to make a 60 frames per second or 120 frames per second, whatever speed clip, become a slow motion clip. Well, let's do that. I'm a man of my word, so let's do it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag in one of the original video files that I had, movie 9, classic, coffee cup, that kind of stuff. And you can see, it just looks a little bit weird. It just looks, you know, it doesn't look proper. And I want to fix that. I want to fix that because I believe I can do better. You know, I don't like how 60 frames per second looks in real life, at least. So we're going to right click the clip that we want to select. We're going to go to modify and interpret footage. You might see audio channels up here, but if you selected interpret footage up here, then you can assume this frame rate, and you can assume whatever frame rate you want. You can go to 1 frame per second, you can go to 100 frames a second, and it'll keep the duration, you know, locked up and everything. Or we can show you, we can go to 23.976. This is what 24 frames per second actually breaks down to. It's not exactly 24, it's 23.976. So 23.976, and it's all the way down here. You can also just hit enter, And now we have a slow motion clip of coffee going up. Isn't that beautiful? And just like that coffee just steaming and everything like that. It's nice and slow-mo. But with this footage is also on its side. And so what we'll do, we'll just go to the effect controls. We'll double click that, go to the effect controls, and we'll hit the rotation and say we want it to be like 90. So you can just punch in 90. And is that's upside down. So negative 90. And then we'll scale it down so you can see the whole thing. And now we have a video fit for Instagram with nice slow motion steam. Isn't that great? Beautiful. Just beautiful. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope that you found it helpful. If you liked it, please leave a like and maybe consider subscribing. I'll be putting up more content like this because I want more people like you and I to get started and to create in this wonderful world of creators that we have. So thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!